Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is, without engaging in hyperbole, one of the best games I have ever played. I was 12 years old when the original version was released in North America, and for a number of reasons, I haven't been able to play it since then. So when the remake was announced in 2023, I took a crisp $100 bill and taped it to the wall, vowing that even if I somehow became destitute and was financially ruined, this money's sole purpose was to buy Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Now, I am not a man who makes a lot of correct decisions, but this was one of them. Every frame of this game is a visual delight. Every note of the soundtrack is a beautiful woman gently calling your name. It is a feast for the senses. It is, again, without hyperbole, a masterpiece. I put off finishing The Thousand Year Door for weeks because I know that a game like this comes along once, or I guess twice, in a lifetime, and I did not want it to end. But like all things good or bad, it did. Now, with no further ado, let me run you through what makes this game so very good. The Thousand Year Door begins with a cutscene in the form of this fantastic little pop-up book, telling the story of a peaceful and prosperous town that met a cataclysmic end by sinking into the sea. After many years, the town was forgotten, and in its place, people gathered once more to build a new town called Rogueport. Among its residents, a legend was told that their town was built atop the ruins of another, where an ancient treasure was hidden. We then joined Princess Peach, who we're supposed to believe chose Rogueport as a vacation destination. Personally, I'd have gone with Isle Delfino, but hey, what do I know? She meets a stranger selling assorted goods on the street who gives her a mysterious box, which she, of course, opens, as the camera fades to white and cuts to Mario and Luigi. They've received a letter from Princess Peach where she tells them about the box, which contained a treasure map, and invites them to Rogueport to help her discover the secrets it holds. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole story here, but that's the gist of it. The treasure is, of course, the Thousand Year Door, a door found in the ruins of the destroyed town that Mario must find the 8 crystal stars to open. As it happens, these things, called the X-Nauts, are also trying to open the Thousand Year Door. The X-Nauts are an organization of, space pirates. Well, I'll tell you what they're not, and that's Koopas. Bowser is in this game, but he's not the main antagonist, and in fact, he's really just more of comedic relief. The supreme leader of the X-Nauts is Grotus, and his second in command is this dude, Lord Crump. To collect the crystal stars, Mario must travel to distant lands, plundering dungeons, defeating fearsome beasts, and making a few friends along the way. After collecting each star, you can bring it to the Thousand Year Door and set it in its place. Doing so will reveal the location of the next star on your map. Paper Mario as a series is this wonderful mix of RPG and platformer. When you're not in battle, you'll be navigating the world as Mario, along with one of his partners that you'll find throughout the game. The world is full of things to find, like star shards, which are used to buy badges, shine sprites to upgrade your partners, or items to help you in battle. Mario himself has a ton of abilities used to navigate the world, like his hammer to break these blocks and open up new paths, or, of course, a jump. It is still a Mario game after all. Additionally, as you make your way through the game, you'll encounter these black chests that curse Mario, and I'm using air quotes here because they're framed as a curse by the game as a joke, but really they're granting you new abilities. These abilities make such great use of the paper concept. When you find one of these platforms, you can turn into a paper airplane and fly for a short time. Paper mode lets you turn yourself 90 degrees and squeeze through tight spaces. At any time, you can roll up into a scroll and pass under small tunnels. And these docks let you turn into a paper boat and traverse over water. And then there are the partner abilities. Each of the partners have their own ability that can be used to find secrets, travel the world, and solve puzzles. I'll talk about those a little bit more in detail when we cover the partners themselves, but for now, let's move on to the combat system. Battles in the Paper Mario series are turn-based, like you'd see in Final Fantasy or Pokemon. The combat may seem overly simplified at first. Mario always starts the turn, followed by his partner, then the enemies take their turns. There's no speed stat or anything dictating the turn order. Damage numbers are generally low with no variance other than the target's defense, which results in a simple your attack minus their defense calculation. The fun of the Thousand Year Door's combat isn't in big flashy numbers or elaborate strategies, it's in the action command system. When attacking or defending, there are ways to increase the damage dealt or reduce the damage taken by entering inputs at the right time, sort of like a quick time event. When using a jump, you can press A just before landing on the enemy to increase your damage, and when defending, you can press A just before being hit to reduce the damage taken. The frame windows for these commands are pretty generous, but some wonky animations can make the timing kind of hard to pin down. The hammer is a little less engaging. You just hold left on the control stick until the big circle lights up. Additionally, partner abilities have a sort of mini-game to play, like Vivian's Shade Fist that has you press a random button on cue, or Madame Flurry's Body Slam that requires you to keep the cursor inside of the circle. I find most turn-based combat systems eventually devolve into something of a chore where I'm just spamming basic attacks to get through them as fast as I can, but the action command system forces you to stay sort of engaged with it. The developers did a really great job of making them easy enough that you'll usually succeed at them, but if you're not paying attention, you can miss. They also make enough difference in battle that you want to always hit them, but it's not too punishing if you miss a few. With health and damage being as low as they are, action commands can really dictate your turn economy, a major factor in enjoyment of the game. Another interesting element to the combat system is the crowd. Your crowd will grow and shrink based on how well you do with your action commands, as well as your stylish flourishes, which can be done by pressing A at the right time after finishing an ability. Your crowd will grant you star power, which can be used to activate special abilities like Sweet Treat, which restores health and flower points, the game's ability resource, or Power Lift, which massively increases your attack and defense for a few turns. Each of these abilities has their own little minigame to play, and you'll get a new ability with each crystal star you recover. And okay, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure how you get these, but throughout the fight, you'll get these icons at the top right, and if you get 2 of the same, you'll get to play a little roulette minigame. Matching 3 mushrooms restores your health, flowers restore your flower power, stars restore your star power, and shine sprites restore all of them. The green ones, I think, give you a poison debuff, so don't get those. These are fun, but the game is easy enough that I usually found myself already full on everything when I got them. But they do come in clutch from time to time. And finally, there are the items. There are a plethora of items you can use in battle, recovery items like the mushrooms and the syrup, damage items like fire flowers or lightning bolts, or these sheep that put enemies to sleep. These are fun, but are so abundant that I constantly found myself with a full inventory. You only get an abysmal 15 item slots, and you find them pretty much everywhere. This could be a me problem. I'm one of those people that refuses to use items in any RPG, cause you never know when you might really need them. At the end of each fight, you'll receive star points. Get 100 of these and you can level up, giving you the choice to increase your health, flower power, or badge points. Badge points are used to equip badges, items you can discover and equip to access new combat abilities, stat bonuses, or just fun stuff like changing the sound effects when you attack. Most battles in the Thousand Year Door will be over in 2 to 5 turns depending on what you're up against. There's a lot of enemy variety. Some have high defense and take 0 damage from weaker attacks. Some can only be hit by jumps. Others are spiky and reflect damage back against melee attacks. There are so many little things to consider in each fight, and they all serve to make the game more engaging. Of course, these are not new concepts by any means, but they're communicated through the character designs extremely well. While most enemies are easy enough, the boss battles can get a little spicy if you're not prepared or you've been neglecting your level grinding. They tend to do big damage, and often to both you and your partner. I really like the boss battles in this game. They really ramp up the difficulty, but not so much that you were blindsided. These were generally the only time I had to use star powers, and for me, the wins feel so satisfying when you have to go deep into your bag of tricks. As I mentioned earlier, throughout your adventure, you will acquire up to 7 partners to help you navigate the world and achieve victory in battle. I won't get too deep into their combat abilities, except in cases where they have some utility instead of just pure damage. Instead, I'm going to go over their field abilities that help you progress through the game. Your first partner is Goombella, a plucky young Goomba studying at U Goom under Professor Frankly, another Goomba who acts as sort of your guide through the game. As an academic, Goombella's abilities center around intelligence. In the field, she'll tell you more about the area you're in, and in battle, she has an ability called Tattle that will tell you the stats of an enemy type and permanently let you see the enemy type's current HP in battle. Next is Koops, a shy Koopa whose father went to fight a dragon and has yet to return. Though he may seem cowardly, he actually has enormous cojones, and he summons the courage to join Mario to save his father from the fearsome dragon Hooktail. Koop's field ability lets you launch his shell across gaps to collect items or hit switches. You can even hold it and release when you're ready to make first hits, or if you need to delay hitting something like a switch or a button. Madame Flurry is... Madame Flurry has a... Madame Flurry was a choice. You can find her in Boggly Woods, tired of the glitz and glam her acting career provided. She joins your party to save the Punies of the Great Tree. Her ability Gale Force can open pathways and doors hidden beneath these sheets of paper, as well as stun enemies that you'd really rather avoid. She's probably the partner I used the least in battle. Her abilities are just kind of boring to use, and there are better options for damage output. Then there is not Yoshi. You actually get to name this partner yourself. While fighting in the Glitz Pit arena in Glitzville, you're tipped off to a mysterious egg that this chef is trying to cook. What do you think grilled Yoshi even tastes like? We save the egg and out hatches a Yoshi that we get to name. I, of course, name him Valkerm. This little dude is hilarious. He's full of cheeky little remarks, and while fighting in the arena, our stage name is the Great Gonzalez, which he thinks is your real name, so for the entire game he calls you Gonzalez, and it kills me. He has easily the best ability in the game, too. I assume you've already guessed it. You just get to ride around him, and this boy fast as hell. I used him for most of the game once I got him, because he kind of slaps in battle, too. You can also jump over large gaps like this too, which is fine, I guess, but really what you want is that raw speed. Vivian is one of my, and really everyone's, favorites. She's one of the 3 Shadow Sirens who are working with the X-Nauts, but her sisters Beldam and Marilyn are such dicks to her that she joins our side. Something that was in the original Japanese release but omitted from the North American version was that Vivian is actually transgender, specifically this line of dialogue where she says, "Truth is, it took me a while to realize I was their sister, not their brother." I'm glad they included this aspect into the remake as it adds some depth to her character, not that she really needed it, and shows that even in 2004, Mario was based. Her ability allows her and Mario to hide in the shadows and avoid detection from enemies, as well as become impervious to things like these spike traps. I would have liked to see this used maybe in a stealth part of the game. I think it was a little underutilized, but she's one of the best partners for battle too, so she saw plenty of playtime. Admiral Bobbery has maybe the most heart-wrenching story of all the partners. When traveling to the tropical island Keelhaul Key, the ship needs an experienced navigator, and there are none better than Admiral Bobbery. Unfortunately, this surly old pirate refuses to join the crew. After some back and forth, we learn that while he was out at sea, Bobbery's wife fell ill and passed away before he could return to her. Blaming himself, he vowed never to set sail again. After giving him a long-lost letter from his late wife, Bobbery finds his passion for the open sea once more and joins Mario's adventure. As a Bob-omb, Bobbery's prime directive is of course to explode. Mario can throw him at these broken walls to blast open a new path or get a massive first hit in battle. Now, I said earlier that you can get up to 7 partners, and that's because Miss Mouse is optional. You actually encounter her a few times throughout the game, pilfering rare badges from various dungeons. I'm not going to tell you how to get her because it is meant to be a fun little side quest. As a treasure hunter, Miss Mouse's ability lets you detect hidden items like badges, star shards, and shine sprites, and in battle, she can steal the items that enemies are holding. The partners in Thousand Year Door offer a really nice variety of options for battle. Some are better at single target damage, some are better at AoE, some are better at high defense enemies. It was a good decision to give you the last partner with a few crystal stars still to go. I'm always a little annoyed when I get a new party member late in the game. You really don't have that much time to get attached to them. Looking at you here, Lackluster. Each partner has a distinct personality, and they all have different things to say in each cutscene. My only real criticism is that with the one-at-a-time implementation, you end up picking favorites and don't really get to see the others as much. Graphically, this game is one of the best ever, in my opinion. I've always been a big proponent of style over realism in graphics, and the Paper Mario series is one of the best examples of that. Paper Mario is characterized by its characters being 2D sprites with 3D backgrounds to make it look like a diorama or a pop-up book. It's a stroke of artistic genius. It's one thing to have a great art style, but being able to harmonize your character and environment designs with that art style the way Intelligent Systems has done here with the Thousand Year Door is seriously impressive. These games are still going to look good in 50 years. Even Paper Mario 64 still looks great. The world being made of paper is communicated consistently and organically, peeling layers away to reveal what's underneath, tearing pieces off to change the environmental layout. The developers did a really good job of staying consistent with that theme. I want to point out Twilight Town as being my favorite area in the game. I'm a total sucker for spooky, creepy kind of places, and that's exactly what Twilight Town is. From these weird little people, whatever they are, to the crows that watch ominously from their treetops. And this extends to the other areas in the chapter too. Take Twilight Trail for example. Just look at this background, the trees covered in the darkness, the pink and purple color of the sky, the enormous moon taking up a quarter of the frame. The design team absolutely cooked here. Usually, when I play a game, by the end of it, I'm ready for it to be over, and I'm happy to put it on a shelf for a couple of years. But with the Thousand Year Door, I kept looking for more to do because I didn't want it to end, and I'm already excited to play it again. Everything it does, the gameplay, the graphics, music, the writing, it does it so well. There is not one thing about this game I didn't enjoy. After each chapter, you can find Luigi, who will tell you the story of his grand adventure that he's on. Usually, Luigi is just a side character that watches from the bench, but the writers gave Luigi a story of his own. He'll tell you tales of traveling to distant lands, meeting new friends, defeating monsters, just like we have. And they gave him this, frat bro personality, which I think is so funny. Bro, and then I totally jumped on this thing, and then bro, I got the princess and I saved her, bro. But then you talk to his partner, and you learn that he's a complete phony. He's a disaster, a liability. He messes up everything, and he succeeds by really just dumb luck. The Thousand Year Door was made by people who care deeply about their games, and the best evidence of that is not in the big budget cutscenes or epic boss battles, but in these minor details that often go unnoticed or unappreciated. The game is full of hilarious and interesting dialogue if you take the time to read it. If I had to levy any criticism, I think the game is a bit on the easy side. There are really just too many failsafes, like the Crystal Star abilities, the roulette minigame, healing stations, an overabundance of items. But even then, the game is made for kids, so I can't really hold a lack of difficulty against it. Plus, if you really wanted to, there are so many ways to impose restrictions, like not using abilities that require flower power or not using badges, that you can find the difficulty if you look for it. The gameplay of the Overworld for me is so good that I think they could have easily transitioned this to an action-adventure platformer and it would work just as well. The combat system is simple enough that a kid can do it, but engaging enough that I, a pretty experienced gamer and RPG player, could enjoy it from start to finish. It really is hard to overstate how great this game is, and I could go on, but I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment telling me what you thought of either the game or the video. This is just my second video, so any feedback is helpful to let me know what I need to improve on. See you next time!